some notable, but again, that's very electoral, which makes sense because it's we're talking about the party. But when in power, Greens have made some huge moves, and when not in power, Greens have still been huge, players in their communities. One example is Jason West. He was the former Green mayor of New Paltz, New York. And he was the first to officiate same-sex marriages before in New York, and he did this before it was legal. At the time, it was illegal for same-sex couples to get married in New York. As mayor, he could officiate weddings, and he officiated gay marriages before it was legal, and really thrust that issue, up into the forefront. Gail McLaughlin is a former Green mayor of Richmond, California. She made some huge changes in their police department, implementing a community controlled police system, similar, kind of modeled and inspired by what the Black Panthers ran on. And then she also, in a really cool thing, she used eminent domain to prevent evictions during the 2008 housing crisis. And so in Richmond, when people were being evicted by their banks during the housing crisis, the government would actually use eminent domain to take over the home and prevent the eviction and keep the people in their home. Reverend Edward Pinckey was a Green community organizer in Michigan, and he fought he fought hard against Whirlpool, which is the appliance manufacturer, but they had a huge amount of influence in his local community. They were getting engaged in tax evasion, getting unfair tax breaks, and really had control of the local government. And Reverend Pinckey was a big part of the movement in pushing back and getting change there. Sherry Honkala, who was our 2012 Green vice presidential candidate, is a homelessness advocate in Philadelphia and founded the Poor People's Economic Human Rights Campaign decades ago. Sherry's been causing trouble in Philadelphia for a long time. A few years ago, she ran for state representative, and openly said that her offices in the Capitol and in her district would be homeless shelters, that they would take in undocumented workers and protect them from eviction. This was during the Trump, deportation and arrest, and this was during the Trump administration. So Sherry's been doing great work, and presently they've been doing trainings on how to do sit-ins and stuff to stop eviction. Jill Stein, who was our 2016 presidential candidate, won lawsuits forcing the Pennsylvania government to adopt auditable paper ballots and forcing Wisconsin to open up their election machines for inspection. So this is what, when people ask why did Greens file for a recount in 2016, this is why. In Pennsylvania, before 2016, through 2016, there weren't auditable ballots. When you cast your ballot, you had no way of verifying that what you said was actually recorded as your vote. There was no receipt given. There was no trackability. And that can be done anonymously, where you're not, violating the sanctity of an anonymous vote, but you can still say, okay, yes, mine is right. That didn't exist until that 2016 recount, when the state of Pennsylvania implemented it as a result of the recount, because when we asked to recount, they said we can't, right? We can't verify these ballots. There's no way to audit them. Similarly, in Wisconsin, the policy was they weren't going to open up there and inspect their machines. Whether or not there's something wrong with the machines, right, which has been totally blown out by, that's one problem with Trump and, his ilk really milking our democracy is broken line. Our democracy is broken. It's just not broken the way they think it is, right? They want it broken the way that it's broken now. They just are mad that they lost. But the reality is we don't have a democracy in this country. We don't have transparency in our elections, and that recount in 2016, showed that by forcing Pennsylvania to now have auditable paper ballots, and now Wisconsin has policies that allow for their machines to be inspected. Because whether the machines are broken or not, you still need to be able to inspect them and make sure that that's true, and it should be part of a robust and transparent electoral system, where after elections you are actually inspecting them, right? You're auditing them. You're not just assuming that everything went okay, but you're providing concrete proof that it did. And we probably would be in a whole lot better, situation in this country in terms of our rhetoric around democracy, if we did something like that, rather than kind of leaving it all up to bad actors to spin things on social media.